Alrighty, ladies and gents, I'm back. Welcome to the third and final segment for Ask the King, episode 82 for July 9th, 2020. If you haven't seen the first two segments and you're watching this on demand on YouTube, go check them out on the King of Hate vlogs. They should be live already. If you're here live on stream, welcome back from the break. No, don't worry. We did not have an error. OBS did have an error, but I fixed it. It is recording. Don't worry. Some people were saying that. Okay. The time has come for the conclusion. Let us finish up with the Twitter questions. Then we're going to open it up to live questions on the stream chat. But first, let's do some shout outs to patrons. That's right. I still have a Patreon over at patreon.com/darksidefil where people pledge every month and help me out. I appreciate everyone who does. It's time for our shout outs on Ask the King. Thank you to the following ongoing patrons who still support me, including Stormforce Gamer, The Resistance, Ryan, Gutter Drums, David Denmark, Big Tone 995, Villix, Casey Wood, Michael Denayal, QPZMWN, Planet Jeff, Sean Given, and Thomas McDonald. Thank you all for the ongoing support. And remember, if you pledge $20 or more to my Patreon, you get your question answered for sure on the show. Planet Jeff was the first person to get a question answered because of that. Please give it a look. Patreon.com/darksidefil. Thanks for the support, guys. Okay. Let us now move on to the final slew of questions. So this question is from Thomas, and he asks the following. He says, every move you make, every word you say, every tiny thing that you do, I'll be watching you. No, he didn't say that. He says, everything that you do is constantly picked apart and scrutinized to try and find some sort of conspiracy or a deeper meaning hidden behind your actions. Granted, you've admitted yourself that you've had to at times not tell the full story or just give little tidbits. Why is it, in your opinion, that you have such a massive following dedicated to unraveling the real truth, when any other streamer or YouTuber can do things to protect private parts of their life and not suffer any backlash? I certainly think that I have a unique situation. The reason is multifaceted, all right? First of all, I've been around for a long time. I was around 12 years ago when YouTube was a completely different place, before live streaming was even prominent, and my style of content back then is very different than who I am today and what I put out today. And admittedly, that style of content, a lot of people could eventually have issue with over the years. I mean, just look at cancel culture now, and how everyone is looking back at things people did 10 years ago and saying, haha, we're bringing this up today, you brushed it under the rug, but now we call it out. For me, always being a public-facing figure and a person that's always had a lot of attention on him, literally everything I've ever done went under a microscope, okay? And the thing is, a lot of the things from back in the day that I did that were wrong, I've openly admitted over the years were wrong, and I've changed to not do that stuff anymore. So even though cancel culture might like to look at me for something I did 10 years ago and say, you made a joke about Jews and Nazis, I've publicly apologized for that joke a million times, admitted how stupid, immature, and dumb it was, and I would never do anything like that again. And I've lived up to those words so I could continue to be a better person in the present day, right? So there you go. Now, admittedly, okay, when you talk about me and the stuff that I do, there are people literally watching this stream right now live. They are trying to take things out of context. They are trying to take things, the ways that I say, way I look today, and they're trying to freeze frame things to say he looks bad here, look how stupid he looks here. They're trying to take things that I say out of context or twist them in a way that I don't mean to make me look bad. They're literally at every waking moment trying to find a way to say and do something negative towards me, okay? And you might say, how the fuck did that happen? The thing is, it's probably different for a lot of different people. Maybe some people just have a bug up their butt about me for something that I said or did over the years. Maybe it's one of those things I did a million years ago, and they just can't let it go. They can't find it in their heart to forgive me for the messed up stuff that I did in the past, and therefore they latch onto me and harp on it. Maybe there's people out there who are part of a community of people who are very, very antisocial people who don't have big, productive, vibrant, positive lives of their own. Instead, they look for an online community of people like themselves to latch onto and have a groupthink kind of a feeling so that they feel that there's some kind of worth or value to the things that they say. When you say something negative about someone and 10 other people corroborate it, all of a sudden you feel like you're not alone and you have some kind of a value, right? And sadly, I hate to say it, that's pretty much what's happened with a lot of these people, whether it's someone who's a content creator on YouTube who illegally rebroadcasts my stuff and now has a mob of people constantly shitting on me on a daily basis, following along with their negative memes and the things that they say about me, or it's an entire forum's worth of people who for the greater part of 5 to 7 years have literally microanalyzed every piece of my life, obsessed over it, and literally just pile on me with the most obsessive, really fucked up, compulsive shit over at Kiwi Farms, all right? There's just giant groups of people who for some reason have come together to shit on me on the internet, whether it's for their own personal gain or whatever it may be. I have no idea, okay? I have absolutely no idea. You would have to go to those places and ask those people directly. What is your reason for being here and shitting on Phil? Well, I think he's a horrible person because of this thing that he did or that thing he does or ba-ba-da-ba-da. Well, you know, and then people will counter with something, well, I don't think that that's the case. And, you know, everyone has a right to their own opinion. But I think you're right, at least in saying, unlike most other content creators, I, for some reason, literally can't ever get a break. No one can ever give me the benefit of the doubt. Everyone always has to kind of pull out something negative out of something that I say or do. You know what I mean? I'll give you a perfect example. We were just previously talking about this whole Evo thing, how Evo has fallen apart because Mr. Wizard was exposed as a pedophile and had pedophilic actions that he did back in the 90s. So the person who basically exposed Mr. Wizard and came out with their own story is someone who I personally know because I used to have interactions with this person on a daily basis back when I used to be a major part of IRC chats on the internet around Street Fighter in the 90s and the early 2000s. I know the guy. He's credible. He used to go to Sunnyvale Golfland Arcade where Mr. Wizard used to work, and he's never come out and talked about these stories like this in detail before. And when he finally did, I basically went on to Twitter and I said, you know, wow, you know, number one, good on you for coming out with that story. But another thing that this person had said in their public story was, you know, we were all pieces of shit back then. We all did really immature things. We did fucked up things. And in particular, he was like, man, I hope that people will take my story seriously because I used to be a really bad IRC troll. He used to be one of the people who come out and troll Street Fighter players and do negative things to them. And he's like, despite that fact, I hope people will take my story seriously. So my tweet to this guy was, hey man, we were all pieces of shit back in the day. I was just as much of a troll as you were, but I'm really happy that you came out with your story, and I'm sorry these things happened to you. I'm glad that you exposed what's going on to the world. People literally took that tweet, okay? Literally took that tweet and said, Phil is defending a pedophile. What? What are you talking about? Phil is defending a pedophile with my tweet to this guy, backing him up and standing out and saying, don't worry about who you were in the past. We will believe you in the present. Thanks for coming out. I'm defending a pedophile with my tweet to this guy. Why? Because they say, oh, well, Phil was talking about Mr. Wizard when he says that we were all pieces of shit back in the day. And he's saying, don't worry about that. You know, we all did things we regret, so Mr. Wizard should be forgiven. I never said that at all. I'm not even talking about Mr. Wizard. I'm talking to the person who I know from IRC about our own personal experiences of being trolls back in the day and how we've changed for the better in the present. But people literally took the tweet and said it meant something else when it didn't to make me look bad. This is what these idiots do. They are nuts. They are fucking nuts. Okay? I can't believe whenever people tell me you have to check out something over on Kiwi Farms because people are saying really fucked up stuff about you and your family and they're threatening you and you need to check it out for your own safety, and I go over there, I can't believe the shit that I see over there. It's like you look at that, you're like, what normal human would do this? Like I'm sure you guys have heard about the video Down the Rabbit Hole, all right? You want to say my life is a rabbit hole? No. Kiwi Farms is the rabbit hole. Because when you go there and you start reading the shit that's over there, it's like, what the fuck is going on with these people? These people are not normal. They're not normal. These people don't have normal thought processes. You know, the normal person wants to come, okay, what's Phil's latest antics? Let me laugh at it for 5 minutes. They don't look at, I'm going to give you an example. Just one example, then we're going to move on because I can't go down that rabbit hole. That anything over there is infinitely worse than anything that I've ever said and done in a video or a stream. It's so nuts, the shit that goes on over there. Right now, okay, stuff is going good for me, okay? As you guys know, recently I've talked about this. Things are going pretty good for me behind the scenes and everything. The streams are going positively. Everything's going good. Those people are losing their shit so badly on a daily basis, they can't stand it. So instead of having anything to talk about, they literally make shit up. Someone actually told me last night, they sent me a link and said, you've got to check this out. They said, you know how all the memes and shit that were about you were negative for a while, about your bankruptcy, and then it was about stupid WWE mobile games and shit. He's like, you've got to see what they're talking about now. I was like, I can't wait. I clicked on it. They're making fun of me for the video that I made like 6 years ago making pasta sauce. The one time I documented myself making pasta sauce, okay? In one of my vlogs, I did a series of videos. This is how I make my pasta sauce. They're literally there's nothing going on now. So what do? They micro-analyze videos from 5 to 6 years ago to try to find something to make fun of me. So I was reading this, and it's like, did you see the amount of sugar he put in his sauce? Can you believe he put that sugar? Like, what Italian would put that amount of sugar in their pasta sauce? Now, what's hilarious about this situation is, back then, we're talking 5, 6 years ago, I had moved out here to Washington. It was the very first time I was actually making my own pot of Italian sauce, and I was using my mother's recipe to make this pot of sauce. My mother's recipe is very much estimation. She's even told me, she's like, I put measurements in the recipe, but they're not right. She's like, I eyeball it, and I've adjusted over the years to make the sauce taste good per my own liking. So chances are, when you make your own pasta sauce, you want to adjust it on the fly. You can use this as a guideline the first time or second time you do it, but you're going to want to do it to your own liking. So the first time I made my family recipe pasta sauce, I think it said like a cup of sugar. Put that in the sauce, right? So I did, and the first time I tasted it, I was like, that sauce is too sweet. So every single time I've made the pasta sauce since then, I reduced the sugar. At this point, I don't even put in a third of a cup of sugar when I make my pasta sauce. I put in just enough to give it a tiny bit of a little additional sweetness to maybe, edge off the acidity, and that's it. That's one of the major adjustments I made. Also, there's all these other things I've done to the sauce. I make it more spicy now and everything. But I haven't done a new video of me making pasta sauce in like 5 to 6 years. So things are so not toxic and bad on my streams these days. These people are so obsessive compulsive about me. We have to go back to Phil's history 5, 6 years ago and pull out the fact that he put sugar in his pasta sauce and make fun of him for 3 forum pages about this. This is what I mean. That's what when Thomas is adjusting, you don't even know the level of rabbit hole these people are in when they do this crazy shit. And that's what I mean. Like, people think a lot of the times that I'm like exaggerating or I'm making stuff up. No, these people are fucked. These people try to get as much possible information about myself and my family members as they can that has nothing to do with me or anything on the content of my streams. Zero to do with the content of my streams, but let's try to expose as much as possible and make fun of Phil for it and be disgustingly toxic about it. They are messed up in the head. You would not be a normal person with a happy, robust, healthy life and go to somewhere like that and behave like those people do. Not one of those people is normal, okay? And that's bad, because that's a self-propagating community of people who they're encouraging that kind of disgusting and toxic behavior. And that's not good. That's like you're creating a community of people who think it's okay to overstep the boundaries of normal human behavior. And it's fine. They got no moral conscience anymore. They think that they can just literally say and do whatever they want and get away with it because they're on a protected forum somewhere. It's gross. It's fucked up. It's disgusting to the level of absurdity. Okay? It's not normal mental health. It's not. And it's scary. Because even though you might say, well, nothing on there is so bad, that kind of behavior just pushes other people to take the next step and take the next step and take the next step. And how long is it going to be until they think that it's okay to start doing things, advancing in real life and shit? Which it's not. Everyone knows. No. Content creators, you leave them the fuck alone. You may think they're the worst content creator on the planet. You don't fucking try to fuck with them in real life. But that's the level of insanity over there. That someone, years ago, what was it, last year? They were actually making jokes, real jokes, about how they could break into my private community and break into my house when I'm not here because I was visiting my parents in Connecticut, in ways that they could get away with it. And they were even writing out plans on how to do it. All right, and that was the first time I ever was alerted. You need to go check out Kiwi Farms because there's people literally making plans to break into your house, and you need to alert the police, which I did. I showed it all to the police, and they're well aware of Kiwi Farms and its presence. So if anything ever happens to me or my wife or my family, the first fucking place they're ever gonna go is Kiwi Farms and find those motherfuckers because they publicly post all of it like the mentally ill idiots they are. Okay, but yeah, like it's crazy what people do, and it's just going to take one person to not understand that that's the line of online stuff and just speculation and not actually taking it to the realm of reality and doing those fucked up things those people talk about. It's going to take one person to lose their mind and do it. That's going to basically put me and my life and my family's life at risk, and it ain't, I'm telling you, it's not going to go well because everyone's already been notified, everything's already protected, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's well aware of the situation going on over there. So anyway, it's fucked up. But yet, why did this happen to me and not other content creators? I could not tell you. Because here's the thing, too. Kiwi Farms is not just me, it's a bunch of other people under there, too. And just once I casually started viewing the other people that are under there, and it's no one else like me. They don't have Wings of Redemption there. They don't have LTG. You know, other streamers who are compared to me regularly are not on there and are not just, you know, dissected and fucking obsessively, compulsively obsessed over like I am. I don't know why. I don't know why it's me. You would have to ask those people why they think I'm somehow worthy of that amount of wasted time of their lives. Because I can't answer that. I'm a sane individual like you. I can't answer those kind of questions. Okay? All right, continuing on, Devontae asks, would you be willing to return to games that you quit in the past, especially before streaming? Whether it's due to false copyright claims like Splinter Cell conviction or you lost patience at the time. I personally would have been curious to see if you ever would have finished Crysis 3 if you had a stream chat to help you out. Yeah, like, there were games back in the day that I just said, fuck this, and I quit for various reasons. Splinter Cell conviction is because false copyright strikes, claiming they were Ubisoft and they were shutting me down, which they weren't, but I had no desire to go back to the game after I got the copyright strike cleared up. Crysis 3, I just hated the fucking game. I really thought it was terrible, but if Stream Chat was there to say, oh, here's how you do this easily or that, maybe I would have persisted and beat it. But I'm sure there's people out there who catalog the stuff that I've done, and if you guys ever wanted to see me go back and finish unfinished business, I'd be willing to do so. I'm sure, you know, I'm doing a viewer's choice event right now where that could be a good candidate of a game that people nominate. Or maybe I could do a special event in the future if people were interested. If I hit a sub goal, I'll do a marathon checking out games that I had rage quit in the past or something like that. Okay? Okay. RBG fan cheers said Kiwi Farms is the neckbeard's lair. I don't even really know what a neckbeard is, so I can't even answer there. Let's see. Vempirus asks, the best fighting game of this generation and why? Honestly, like, if you're talking sheer amount of content and fun factor overall, probably the Mortal Kombat franchise or the Injustice franchise, because NetherRealm treats their games like a full package. For NetherRealm, when they make a fighting game, it's about the story, the supplemental content, as well as the competitive nature of the game. So you're going to get fun storylines, plus you're going to get optional modes, but you'll also get online gameplay like you get with everything else. If you're talking quality of the gameplay, probably Tekken, what was it, Tekken 7 or Tekken 8, whatever the last Tekken was probably the highest up there when it came to technical level of gameplay, I feel. I actually really like Dragon Ball FighterZ. It just wasn't my style of game once it came to the meta and the high-level gameplay of constant rush down. I kind of didn't like it anymore. But I liked that the fact that it was basically true to the actual original source material of anime, that when you play the game, it feels like you're actually playing those fighters fighting each other. So, technical, Tekken 7. Alright? Fun factor, either the Mortal Kombat or Injustice franchise. Okay? There you go. Jonathan asks, how did you go about training Jasper to use the litter box when you got him? I'm considering getting a cat, but I don't want it peeing everywhere. First of all, we didn't get him as a kitten. We got him as a 2-year-old, we think. We don't even know his real age, but 2-year-old cat. We rescued him from a shelter. He was already trained. But cats in general learn that stuff much more quickly than dogs. Dogs kind of need training to know where to go outside to go. Cats, when they gravitate towards a litter box that has cat litter in it, they just kind of know to do it. They know to go in there and bury their stuff. That's their instinct. So it's actually very easy. Beast Bod asks, it seems like people outside of Halo and Gears of... let me try this again. It seems like outside of Halo and Gears of War, Xbox doesn't have many exclusives to draw people in like they do, like PlayStation does, basically. What franchise would they resurrect or claim they could draw more people to the Series X? I mean, we already have an idea because supposedly it's been discovered that they just renewed the trademark for the Fable franchise. So it's speculated they're going to make a new Fable game, or they're making a new Fable game. But outside of that, I don't know. Like, there aren't a lot of great franchises out there that are under the Microsoft umbrella. A lot of the ones that they were touting were going to be great, like State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, they're duds. So, you know, I think it's going to be more about bringing in new stuff. Like having these studios develop brand new IPs that are good. Rather than, oh, what's an existing Microsoft IP that should be brought back? Honestly, I can't really think of many. Like someone just said Perfect Dark. Bringing back Perfect Dark is not going to put butts in seats. It's not going to sell consoles, you know? It's not. They need to focus in on new stuff, in my opinion. So, let's see here. Golden Cold says, do you believe cancel culture is moral and just? The way things are going in the country, you could be hounded for having potentially any beliefs that differ from the mainstream worldview, and the moment you defend yourself, you could be silenced and fired from your job, etc. Cancel culture is a slippery slope. I've already talked about this before. Cancel culture originally started out a couple years ago as a way to expose people who previously were completely immune to this kind of stuff, like the Me Too movement and everything. You know, just like take a look at what's his name, Harvey Weinstein, and then you know, other people like Epstein, and all these people who were doing these really disgusting things behind the scenes for so long, getting away with it. But then it extends into the realm of the normal person. It extends into the realm of a celebrity who maybe is completely blindsided by the fact that someone maybe felt that they were abused or they were taken advantage of when they don't. We just recently talked about the Angry Joe scenario, where apparently Joe went to a convention and spent a lot of time with some girl who never told him she had a boyfriend, so he was under the impression she liked him and he was trying to impress her, and then come to find out at the end she had a boyfriend, and she pushed it as if she felt like she was just trying to hang out with a cool content creator, but he tried to take advantage of her. While at the flip side of that, if you look from Joe's perspective, there's really not much to go on there besides she lied to him a lot or told half-truths to basically get into events and stuff. So you know what I mean? Like, it's what I mean. Like, it goes both ways. Like, the cancel culture and the Me Too movement is great because it has exposed people who previously were completely immune to this kind of stuff. Mr. Wizard was guilty of this for 20 years, and only now the truth comes out. But at the same time, you got to be careful, because what happens when it goes too far, or when it goes to stuff that, you know, like right now, people are bringing up Jimmy Kimmel and saying Jimmy Kimmel should be canceled because he did blackface on his Man Show. He played a character, Karl Malone, who was a basketball player. He wore full body makeup to look like Karl Malone, making him look like an African American, and saying he should be canceled for that, which he did in the early 2000s. And it's like, that shit's been out there for a million years. The Man Show was popular. You could buy the fucking show on DVD or on demand and watch it to this day. Now we decide it's culturally wrong to do blackface. Now we cancel him 20 years later? Like, huh? How does that fucking work? You know? So it's a double-edged sword, and it's a slippery slope, because how far is too far when you look at cancel culture, you know? And I don't think I'm the person here to give you the answers. Certainly, I think if someone's been systematically doing things wrong for years and years and years and years, and it's not changed for the better, and it's not improved, and it's somehow gotten to positions of power because they've been doing these fucked up things for years and years, that's when cancel culture or the Me Too movement or all this can actually be effective. But calling someone out for an action 20 years ago, something that they have not repeated, they've changed. Like, if you look at Jimmy Kimmel from the year 2000 and Jimmy Kimmel in the year 2020, he's a completely different human being. He's changed his opinions on things, his political stances. He's a different guy. How can you then say, I'm sure he knows now that what he did 20 years ago was fucked up and wrong, but why you're going to make him suffer for it now? You know what I mean? Like, same thing with me. Everyone always brings back the Nazi jokes that I made 10 years ago. Like, I'm sorry I did it. I really am. I know those jokes might have been harmful. I know those jokes were fucking wrong, and I paid the price getting kicked off of Blip TV for them, and I changed for the better and never did that kind of comedy ever again. So how can you cancel me in 2020 for that when I've actively improved, changed, and showed that I'm a different person now? See? It doesn't make fucking sense. So I would say, overall, cancel culture can have positive benefits, but just like everything else, it's got to be held in moderation, and you can't just use it to cancel anyone who's ever done anything that could ever be viewed offensive in any frame of reference. That's ludicrous. Okay. Sega Genesis 101 asks, given your long history in the gaming community, do you fear Twitch's rules are too strict? Do you see this being a hindrance as a platform to conform with modern PC standards? No. When I first started on Twitch, none of that stuff applied. When I came back to Twitch, I had a little bit of issue because I ran in with a couple of things. Like, for example, there was someone who insulted me, okay, on a stream chat. And I insulted them back and then insulted their physical appearance. And that's against Twitch's rules. And I got the hand slapped for it. All right, on one stream, I was inebriated and I said a word I should not have said. And I got my hand slapped for it behind the scenes. A lot of people don't even know that, but I did. I got my hand slapped for doing that behind the scenes. They all assume I got away with it. I didn't. I got into a little bit of trouble for it because I did that and I shouldn't have done it. Okay? I got suspended a couple times on Twitch. But, in general, I adapted my content and I changed as a person, and I said, I'm not going to do those things anymore. I'm not going to take the lowest point, like, all right, if you're an asshole to me in stream chat, go fuck yourself, asshole, and you get moderated. Not go fuck yourself, asshole, not only click on your profile and make fun of how you look and dig deep. You know what I mean? Like, and the truth is, to be a good content creator, you have to learn that. You have to take something on the chin, okay, fuck it, brush it off, move on. Don't harp on it all day. Don't get butthurt by every little insult. You know, and I've become better as a content creator abiding by those Twitch rules. I'm sorry, but I don't see anything so horrendously bad in the Twitch rules. Now, some people will argue Twitch isn't fair with the way they enforce the rules, as some people get away with constantly breaking the rules while others don't. Okay, if that's the case, fine. I feel like that doesn't really affect me. I don't break the rules. So not breaking the Twitch rules and putting out the kind of content that I like, I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have an issue with Twitch's rule set anymore. Or I never did, really. It's just that I had to adjust to it. So, you know. And here's the thing. Someone just said, you make fun of how Ninja and Dr. Disrespect look. That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. What I do is I criticize the strategy they use as a content creator to attract a younger audience, which I feel is immoral. Actually having justification for what you do in a very rational way is different than just off-the-cuff insulting someone for the sake of insulting them. When I say I think Ninja dyes his hair and kind of looks like a cartoon character to attract kids, all right, that's a criticism of his content creation. That's not me insulting his actual looks, right? There's a difference, and you have to understand the difference there. But that's what I mean. The fact that I can actually criticize people fairly on Twitch, I'm okay with that, you know? I'm okay with that. I don't, you know, no, I can't outright just insult someone blatantly and, you know, about that, but I'm okay with that too. I don't think that there's anything that's so restrictive here on Twitch that I wouldn't want to be a content creator here. That's why I feel when Ninja came out and said, oh, I'm leaving Twitch to go to Mixer because I find that Twitch is too restrictive. But then behind the scenes, you found out he got paid a ridiculous amount of money to move to Mixer. He was basically lying through his teeth to try to have a justification for moving. See, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt and understand that it's a bunch of bullshit, right? I don't have any reason to ever leave Twitch. I like being here. Ryan asks, I read PlayStation would someday have backwards compatibility for old games over the cloud, kind of like PS Now. Do you think cloud-based gaming is the future? Do you think having the physical hardware will always be the gold standard? At one point, maybe you would feel that having the physical hardware was the gold standard because at one point you could just pop a game into your console and play it no matter what. And so people argued that's much better than having an online-only component of a digital game that you have to have online connectivity to play. But in the modern era, you can't even play a video game when you own the physical disc anymore. You have to pop it into your console. It has to install. It has to do day one updates. If you don't have an internet connection, the game won't play. So it doesn't even matter if you buy the physical game anymore. There's no difference between getting it digitally or getting it physically anymore. There's just none. What I would say is cloud-based gaming could definitely work, but as we just saw with Google Stadia, it can't work yet. We need to have better internet as a common denominator of just citizens. You know, right now in the United States of America, you could have a fiber optic connection, which is the best of the best. You could have a very high-speed cable modem like I have for the business level internet, but then you could have a cable modem that has data caps and limitations like normal Comcast customers have. You could have satellite internet that's hit or miss depending on the fucking weather. You could have a dial-up connection. You could have like a million internet connections that are all of variable quality, so you can't depend on internet connection to be stable to have Google Stadia or other cloud services to work right now. So because of that, no, cloud gaming is not possible. Could it be possible one day, 10, 15 years down the line? Yes, and I'll give you a comparison. When the Xbox One was debuting at E3, Don Matrick, who's now infamous as one of the worst guys ever when it came to what he did to the Xbox One launch, basically said to everyone, we're not doing physical discs. It's going to be all digital, all right? And you're not, if you buy the physical disc, you're not going to be able to lend it to your friend. It's all, you need internet connection no matter what. At that point, everyone destroyed him and said, boy, you're off base or whatever. 5, 6, 7 years later, now everything's digital. So the internet has progressed. We've gotten to the point where everything's like that. And now Don Matrick, if he said that in 2020, maybe we wouldn't really be making fun of him as much. We just had a reveal of the PlayStation 5 where there's a version that doesn't have a disc drive. It's all digital. Are we making fun of Sony? Of course not, but we're 7 years later. A lot of the times these things are way ahead of the curve when they're way ahead of their time when they're announced. Cloud gaming today is a joke. Cloud gaming in 7 to 10 years may be viable. And then we don't need, everything's in the cloud, right? I guess we'll see. Brian, this is the final Twitter question from Brian. He says, if prices weren't so inflated, what retro console would you want to collect for and why? Actually, for me, it's not a situation of being inflated. It's a situation of the viability of the console, the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast console was so good at its time. It had really good ports of fighting games, arcade-style games like Crazy Taxi, Power Stone. The Dreamcast was a crazy good console, but it died because of piracy. Piracy alone killed the console, and it only lasted a couple of years before it became obsolete. I would love to get a working Dreamcast with a bunch of Dreamcast games and find a way to capture and play them. But guess what? The Dreamcast itself, sadly, was a console that regularly burned out. I know because I owned, like, a ridiculous amount of them. I owned, I think, like 6 of them over the course of me trying to run tournaments for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I had a Japanese import Dreamcast. I had a modded Dreamcast. I had a standard American Dreamcast. I had a Dreamcast that had a red shell that was painted a weird way. Like, I think I want to say 4 to 5 Dreamcasts over maybe a span of 7, 8 years. Because they all died. The problem is the motor inside would break, or the laser would fuck up regularly. And don't even get me started on the memory card, because the memory card was a little Tomodachi thing, right? Instead of being a standard memory card, it was actually like a virtual pet. And if the battery died in those things and you tried to reboot it, like, you'd lose data. You'd lose all your save data. So it was like really a console that was fucked up to try to maintain long term. So I would love to get like a Dreamcast with a bunch of the top level Dreamcast games and find a way to capture from it. I know that you could actually do, like, at that point with like VGA out. Obviously, no one can capture from VGA, so you have to find a way to convert the signal to like a HDMI signal, I guess. We'd have to see, but that would be me. That would be the one that I would want. All right. Carlton Jr. cheered. He says, I've always found it weird you didn't like Dragon Ball FighterZ for its constant rushdown gameplay, but you like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'm well aware there's zoners in that game, but the majority of it is rushdown. It's a more unbalanced game. In reality, Marvel vs. Capcom 2's high-level gameplay is primarily rushdown, but there are, like, Cable, Sentinel is a hybrid, Storm can be played as a hybrid, and there are keep-away characters in the game that are very viable as well. Dr. Doom, Blackheart, they're not top tier, but they're still playable characters in the scheme of things. Dragon Ball FighterZ is like 100% rushdown. At least from when I was playing it, I played it for 2-3 months. By the time that I stopped playing it, it was like everyone was in your face, constantly finding a way to hit you with an assist. So you were locked in place, and then they would do a crossover, and that was it. You had to either block or die. It was just rush, 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 rush. And I don't like that style of gameplay. I like variety. Super Turbo, my favorite fighting game of all time. There's definitely rushdown characters like Vega, Balrog. They're in your face constantly attacking the shit out of you. Then you've got zoners like Dalsim or Sagat. Then you've got hybrids, you've got grapplers, and all of those styles of gameplay are viable. Dragon Ball Fighters is rush, 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 rush. I was very disappointed because when it came out, at first I felt like maybe there would be zoners with Beerus and characters like that. The game is just rushing down. And to me, I lose the fun factor from it when you reach that point. That's the same thing with Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The game started off with variety of gameplay and everyone trying to play it differently. And then when it got to top level gameplay, it was just 1,000,000% rush down. And I did, I lost my interest in the game because of it. So that's why. Alice Telemon, cheers. I see a growing amount of reports stating console gaming will have 4K 60 frames per second with the PS5. Reasonable or bullshit. Every time they claim such stats, it disappoints. I will always remain a skeptic at this point because they told us this console generation was going to be full 1080p, full 60 frames, blow your mind away games, and all the games coming out aren't that. We just played Last of Us Part 2, 30 frames per second. So, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. All right, so guys, this is pretty much it for Ask the King. I'm going to open up the stream chat for a few minutes to Q&A if anyone has any additional questions they would like to ask. And then we're going to adjourn. All right? Derek, there's not a single game in 2020 I've played that's a Game of the Year contender for me. I'm serious. Because he just said, what would be your favorite... what would be your favorite year or your favorite game of the year? I don't even know. I would literally have to sit down and compare this game to 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 this game and figure it out. And, I don't even know. No game stands out for me in my head. Well, Gary did a 100-bit cheer, basically calling me out for very disgusting sexual comments I made about iJustine in 2017, asking me did I ever apologize. To my knowledge, I have. I've said I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. It was a messed up comment that I made during typing. It wasn't me saying something on a stream, but it was actually we were watching E3 2017 together in my stream chat. I said something very messed up about iJustine I shouldn't have said, and I don't know why. The only thing I can think of trying to not really justify, but figure out why I would have said that is I was really messed up at that point. If you take a look at that time frame, I had just broken up out of a long-standing relationship. My future as a content creator was at stake. I was living alone. I was very depressed at that time. And I was just doing stupid shit, lashing out at people for no fucking reason. And there was absolutely no reason for me to say what I said. And I am really sorry that I said it because I never, ever should have made a comment like that. There you go. Canadian Doink subscribed for 26 months and says, good shit. Okay, thank you, Canadian Doink, for the ongoing support. Sitgo did a 100-bit cheer and says, would you replay Remedy, Control, or Quantum Break? So you mean between those two? Oh, wait. He says, did you play Remedy's Control or Quantum Break? I played them both. Full playthroughs up on DSP Gaming you can watch right now. I've played both games. Alice Telemon cheers says, do you think there will be a time you'll be able to stream at 4K or 60 frames? Evolution of bandwidth and maybe future rule changes on Twitch. In reality, that's a major limitation right now. It's Twitch. I can't even consider upgrading because Twitch only lets me stream at 6,500 kilobits per second. The rules still say that's the limit. I'm sure there's big Twitch streamers out there that do more than that. I can't, I could right now, if they would let me stream at 9,000 kilobits per second, I could do 1080p 60 frames. But 4K, you're talking, you'd have to double, triple the amount of a bitrate that they allow. There's no way I could do it at 4K. It's impossible. Carlton Jr. chooses Heavy Rain, Detroit, or Indigo Prophecy. Out of those three, for first time experience of playing the games, Heavy Rain. That was a really cool murder mystery. It was a really cool ongoing murder mystery where it was a whodunit. You didn't know who had done it. You were trying to piece the clues together every time you played it. Indigo Prophecy was a fun game, but it was just fucking weird. The plot was just out there, right? Detroit's a great game as well. I really like Detroit, but I think that the story of Heavy Rain's the best out of the three, and since those are narrative-based games, that's my pick. No, I've never played any dot hack games. Twitter questions I forgot? What are you talking about? I just did Twitter questions. We're done with Twitter questions, the ones that I selected. I don't answer every single Twitter question. I pick the ones that I feel I have something, you know, important to say. Like Derek is saying he had a question on Twitter, but I don't really have a good answer for it. So that's why I didn't select that question for the show, you know? Will I be allowing music during the Tony Hawk streams? I mean, if I do, I might get shut down for Twitch, because even Twitch has issue with licensed music now. So I don't know what to do if I play this Tony Hawk collection. I really don't. Would I ever consider checking out Bug Fables, The Everlasting Sapling? If people thought it was a good game and they nominated and voted for it, sure. During like a viewer's choice, but I'm not going to play that on my own. I don't know what it is. Actually, I don't know. See, Cookie Monster says, do you feel the implementation of progressive and LGBT issues in Last of Us 2 actually held it back from what it was trying to do? For me, it didn't. I don't give a shit that Ellie was a lesbian. I don't care that there was a character that felt that they were out of place being their own gender and they cut their hair and tried to change their appearance to look like a different gender. You know, I don't care that Abby had insane amount of traits that were very masculine. You know, I don't care about any of that. I've never cared about that shit. That's not a factor at all for enjoyment factor of a game for me. Are there people out there who are bigoted idiots who probably didn't like the game because of that stuff? Absolutely. Was that the mainstream reason that I feel most people disliked the game? No. I think people actually have very valid reasons for disliking the game. And what's happened is the defense crew for Last of Us Part 2 has tried to spin every issue that legitimately people have with the game and turn it into, oh, people just don't like games where girls are the main characters. People can't handle a game with LGBT. It's like, that's not the issue. That you literally created a straw man as the issue with the game, when in reality people are all coming out and saying we have issue with the plot for these reasons, and you ignore those reasons, and instead you say, oh, it's just because it's LGBT is why people don't like it. That's not the case. Derek, yes, I remember playing Doritos Crash Course with John, and the reason we played it is because it was a free game, and we were looking for something co-op to do, because back then we did co-op every weekend, and it was just something different, you know? Why do I play the Street Fighter collection if I get mad at it every time that I play it? Well, because I love classic Street Fighter, and my opinion is this: if I have to put up with bad netcode, terrible matchmaking, bad lobby system in order to at least get a few matches every week of good old school Street Fighter, I'll put up with it, because I don't want to forget that awesome time of my life when I was playing those games competitively, and I love those games. All right, not Alpha 3. Street Fighter Alpha 3, meh. But Third Strike, as well as Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I love those games. I really do. I love those games. And I would play inferior versions over never playing them ever again. Let's see here. Jerry did 100-bit series says, while trolling community around you no doubt affect your opportunity as far as sponsorships go, do you not believe calling a game dev a cocksucker as part of your criticism of games also plays into that? First of all, there's no way to know. There's no way to know that if, for example, I'm going to play Assassin's Creed and I'm going to get a sponsored stream on Twitch, and I play it and I do my stream, how do I know if that game dev or someone who worked on that game found a moment when years ago during an older Assassin's Creed playthrough I said something over the top like that and they have issue with that, and that's why, you know, a company might not want to work with me? I can tell you this: that's not what happened. Both in the cases of the 2 sponsored streams I've done on Twitch, in both cases the trolls went and harassed the shit out of those companies online. Those companies then went behind the scenes and talked to Twitch and said, make sure Phil doesn't do sponsored stuff anymore because we don't want the bad publicity on social media because of it. It had nothing to do with me, my behavior, or anything I did in the actual sponsorship opportunity whatsoever. It was 100% the actions of trolls that cost me those sponsorship opportunities. Now, obviously, I have a 12-year body of work, and as I already said on this stream, there's many things I've done over the years that I am ashamed of, that I've apologized for, I wish I didn't do, and you can't take back because it's out there public and people have documented it or whatever, right? But I'm still allowed to be on YouTube. I'm still allowed to be on Twitch. I have changed dramatically over the last several years, and there's plenty of content creators out there who've done terrible things in the past, and they get sponsorship opportunities in the present, and I don't. It's not because of what I've done that I don't get sponsorship opportunities. It is 100% the fucked up people on the internet who ruin them for me, okay? And you can choose to disagree with that, but that's just facts, okay? Carlton Jr. Cheers says, what does Sonic have to do to finally compete with Mario? I have no idea. Alice Telemon Cheers says, have you ever been near a hurricane or experienced one from a safe distance? I've been in them. We used to get hurricanes all the time on the East Coast where I live. I've been in the eye of a hurricane. It could be pretty scary, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be it for today's Ask the King. 3 hours of Q&A fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, whether you were live on stream or you were watching on demand on YouTube. Thanks to those who supported and got us to the tips goal. Much appreciated. Now, the next episode is going to be early September. I believe I set it up for September 10th. It's going to be highly dependent on if you guys post up questions. I'm just being honest. This episode was tough to get through because I had to really scrounge around for questions. The more questions you submit, the better. The thread is already up over on thekingofhate.com for you guys to post up your questions. In fact, I usually put it in the description of these videos on YouTube where you can just go and post up your next slew of questions. So please do so. If you want to see the show continue, please post up questions. All right? Thank you very much again for an awesome Ask the King. I appreciate all of your input and support. Until next time, peace out, everybody. See you later.